Hey guys, it's Veronica Wolf, and today I want to talk about how soulless our world really is and has become. I think that I really started waking up to this fact like a year and a half ago when I really stopped taking um, or stopped using social media, and I also stopped my Spotify subscription for a bit, and I was moving through the world now, like feeling like an outsider because everywhere I'd go, like everybody was just constantly on technology, and how I remember I went to this square, and this was in Amsterdam. So they have like a lot of pleins, which means square in Dutch. And I go to the square, and it's filled with people. It's like April, so the sun has just started to come out, and everybody wants to come out and get some sun. But it was completely quiet, and I just found it so chilling because I was like, 20 or 30 years ago, this place would have been so lively and full of, light and love and connection. And now, even though it's filled with people, it's so empty. I've been thinking about a lot of the things that our society also glorifies. Of course, like wealth, like a lot of external validation. Um, even the fact that people like feel so much pressure to change themselves that they feel compelled to have surgery, and that could be easily like a life-threatening situation. It just shows the extent to which our society makes people feel so like horrible about themselves. And people, like, there's so many men who are like getting their like knees or like their calves broken and stuff like this to become taller because, for example, they've internalized the message so much that their height is everything. People like literally destroy their skin pigment to become, lighter. And the thing is it's so easy to judge all these people, but in reality, a lot of the times they do this stuff because, of course, society tells you this is what you should do, and it does get them results. It does get them results, so it encourages them to do it more. However, a lot of the times, the results that you get aren't what you needed in the first place. Like, if, for example, if you have surgery for your knees to get taller, you know, you might just attract someone who is that like closed-minded that it's going to judge someone so much off of a physical attribute, or there's so many examples. Or perhaps it's that you can somehow, help them in some way and they can benefit off of you. And that relationship that you have with that person is good until you can't benefit them anymore, and then it's done. And perhaps this is just our society now, or perhaps this is how it's always been. I mean, at the end of the day, humans will be humans. And a lot of the times when you read, history and things in the past, you realize that a lot of the times we really just create the same scenarios over and over and over again. And I think we try more and more, and I think eventually we tend to learn from our lessons, but not always. I think the root of this whole issue, I don't want to call it an issue. I think it's just literally being human. As humans, we're born into this world and we feel incomplete. There's something about us that feels incomplete. And sure, your circumstances may be incomplete in some way, but there's like an internal sense of incompleteness. And I think that in reality, that incompleteness is where your true self lies, you know, and it's treasure that's hidden within you, and you have to go within yourself in order to discover it. And it's a long and it's and you know like a difficult, arduous path, but it's one worth going on. And I think that this feeling of incompleteness is so easy to take advantage of in people. And, you know, our society tends to take advantage of it depending on, you know, where you live and where the different cultures are. They take advantage of it in different ways. Essentially, when you have that hole inside yourself, that insecurity within yourself, that feeling of inherent incompleteness that I think all of us humans have, you really can't outsource the job to other people or to society, because you have to look at incentives, right? Like for society, and let's take for example big businesses. For big businesses, it's better that you are insecure so that they can exploit your insecurities and turn your insecurities into profit. And so when you outsource your soul and feeling complete, that idea to society, you know, it's going to exploit it, whether that's other people. A lot of the times, you know, when you are searching for someone else to complete you, the type of people that you also tend to attract are people who are seeking people who need them to feel complete, and who are coming out of a place of lack. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't necessarily have the best intentions for you, and they have their own best intentions in mind. And so you yourself have to have your own best intentions in mind, or else who else is going to be looking out for you if you're not looking out for yourself? I think that when it comes to trying to dig deeper into that feeling of unwholeness that we have as humans, it's really like it's really a journey. And it's definitely a marathon. And the reality is it's something that you will never get to the bottom of. Or, you know, perhaps you will, but being a human is to constantly be in suffering. And no matter whether you are 2 years old or 82 years old, that feeling of, you know, still having desires, still not having everything together, still wanting, still fearing, still literally feeling, you know, it's literally being human. I think it's also really beautiful that this day and age we have access to so much knowledge and so much information. Of course, throughout the course of history, there is so much knowledge and information that has been lost. For example, I always wonder all of the pieces of literature that were kept in the Library of Alexandria that was burned down, and how different our world might look if we knew the contents of the information and the scrolls in there and all that stuff. But the good thing is we still have a bunch of information that's been passed down through us for literally thousands of years, and there's so much knowledge that you can learn, and there's so many guides to help you through life, and it's so beautiful. Recently I've been reading the Bhagavad Gita, and it's a Hindu scripture, and it's a dialogue between a warrior, Prince Arjuna, and God Krishna on the eighth battle, exploring themes of duty, which is called dharma, selflessness, detachment, and from the fruits of actions. And just the whole approach to life, I think, is really beautiful. It talks about really, duty, action, the way that you should think about your life, and how you give, and fulfilling your destiny and fulfilling your purpose in life. And that's what I've really been thinking about recently. And I think that also a book that I recently read, A Man's Search for Meaning, which was, wow, a life-changing book. One of the lines that will haunt me forever, I hope, it's the closing line of the book, and it's, "Man made the gas chambers. However, it was also man who walked through its gates upright with the prayer of Israel, or the Lord's Prayer on his lips." Wow. It really talks about how all you have in this life is your mindset. All you have in this life is really your soul. Like, it really comes back to your soul and how in touch with your soul you are. You know, Viktor E. Frankl, the man who wrote A Man's Search for Meaning, he spoke about how in the concentration camps, because the book takes place throughout his time at Auschwitz and also other places that he ended up, but he talks about specifically at Auschwitz how the people who tended to survive had a rich internal mind. They had a rich internal life. They tended to be more intellectual, and in many ways they tended to be more in touch with their soul, I believe he was talking about, because I think that one of the beautiful art forms that's really died a lot in our culture is reading, and that's something I've been getting more in touch with, because books, yes, they tend to be longer, they tend to hone your focus more, but they tend to make you really question yourself, question your life. They break down your mind, and you build back up your mind, and you make it stronger, you know. And books like this, books like A Man's Search for Meaning, they break down your soul, and they build it back up, you know. Of course, all of this is if you choose to let it. In conclusion, what I'm trying to say is, in a world that offers so many quick fixes and remedies for filling up that feeling of emptiness within yourself, perhaps question why you feel so attracted to do the things you do that you hate doing, that you know aren't good for you. Why are you so comfortable with doing them? What purpose do they serve you? What is it keeping you from? Also look at what is the intent that you use these things with, you know? Do you use them to discover yourself more? Do you use them to numb yourself from the human experience? I think in a world that tries to take so much of your attention, sometimes the most radical thing that you can do is to learn how to focus. And that's definitely something that I'm looking forward to doing and that I'm currently working on. And so, yeah. Anyway, guys, I hope you have a great rest of the day. And let me know what you thought about this quick thoughts chat, and whether you agree with me. Is our world really soulless and empty, or society in many ways, and a lot of people, and perhaps even ourselves? Anyway, I hope you have a great rest of the day. Bye. Bisous.